What is going on, everybody? I am Rob Westerman III of GBP Daily, and thank you for tuning in to the Rob Westerman Show. It is Tuesday, August 6th, and a brisky one this morning as I headed out to the door to the gym. Feels kind of nice compared to the humid 80, 90-degree weather we've been having. The first thing that popped in my head was football. Football's coming right around the corner. A little cooler weather outside. Fall's about here. We're right on the home stretch until Packers-Eagles. We've got 31 days until game day. So if you're lucky enough to be joining me on this beautiful morning, toss your week one predictions in the chat. I want to know what you guys are feeling, kind of what the vibe is. At least at this point in the preseason, how are we feeling for week one against the Eagles? It's a weird one. Friday night game, 7:15, against a formidable opponent in Philly. Usually we're playing the Bears, basically a preseason game, if we're being honest, anytime we face Chicago. But we'll see. We'll see. If I don't say so myself, my non-homer, unbiased opinion, I'll go Packers 23, Eagles 17. Nonetheless, I'm pretty excited. Friday night game. I don't know if it's the first Friday night game ever for the Packers. I can't recall, but man, the second overall game after Thursday's game, I think it's against KC and the Texans. KC and I don't know who they're playing. I know the Chiefs are playing. So then boom, one day later, Friday night, Eagles, Packers. And then after we get the win, we can soak up a Saturday full of college football, Sunday full of NFL games, cap off the week of the Monday night game. Maybe there's a couple that first week. But I'm excited. 31 days. JJP defense will go off and cause 3+ turnovers. Yeah, that's kind of where my head was at too, as far as the low score that I'm predicting, 23-17. Thanks, JJP, for the comment. I appreciate you tuning in. Defense always seems to kind of have the upper hand those first few weeks. So 23-17, and it's kind of where my head's at. 23 is a different score. You could either do, 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals, or I'm thinking 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and a missed extra point thrown in there just because, something to spice it up a little bit. Tyler, thanks for joining in, man. Love you, brother. Thank you for hopping in. Beautiful Tuesday morning. It's probably about 60 degrees right now, 61. That feels amazing. So, a theme in the Instagram chat, Packers 31, Eagles 21. I like it. A 1-0 start. Can't complain about that. A little housekeeping here. Tucker Kraft has been brought off of the PUP list, which is great news. He tore his pec earlier this offseason. And while I was up at training camp last week, checking out the squad, he was riding down the bikes every single day with the kiddos. Just wasn't obviously clear to practice yet. The Packers training staff, they always side on the cautious side as far as injuries go, which at this point, I'm okay with that. I don't think he needs, everybody needs practice, but him missing these practices, I don't think is hurting him. So good news there with Tucker Kraft. He'll be back practicing this week. I would imagine that Zach Tom route that Zach Tom took will be similar to what Tucker Kraft will be rolling through. Individuals first, nothing with team, and then start ramping it up as far as next week goes in the following preseason game. So Zach Tom, speaking of Zach Tom, he'll be back in team. He had the same injury as Tucker Kraft, torn pec earlier this offseason. He's only been doing individual drills up until this week. Now he's expected to do team drills, which thankfully he'll be back. Offensive line has been getting destroyed so far in camp. So good or bad, I'm kind of nervous. That's my one spot. some folks, people always ask me, what's the weak link? What's the best link? The best group. And I've always been saying, at least so far this offseason, the offensive line has been kind of the weaker link throughout the entire team. I heard somebody talk about it last week. I can't remember who, so sorry. The offensive line as a whole, I think it was Peter Bukowski. The offensive line as a whole produced really well last season, but when you go down the line as an individual guys, there's not, one standout Pro Bowler, Elton Jenkins, sure, or all pro type of guy that you can really lean on. But I think that Elton Jenkins, and Zach Tom's side is going to be really good. Rasheed Walker came into his own last year, former 7th round pick. Jordan Morgan cracked the starting lineup as far as the unofficial depth chart goes. He's at right guard. And Josh Myers being the center. Josh Myers has missed some training camp practices due to some personal days. Not sure what's going on there. Something to kind of monitor. Hopefully he'll be at practice the rest of training camp if he can be. If not, hope all is well with him. Jamie, over in the Instagram chat, thank you for tuning in, Jamie. What game are you most looking forward to this upcoming season? All of them. That's the easy answer. That's a smart aleck answer, I suppose. So forgive me there. Personal reasons, Packers, Colts. I'm going to try to go up to that one. That's the home opener. September, what do we got over here? September 15th at noon. That's a noon game. So I'll be trying to head up to that. Week 1, we're in Brazil, obviously. Week 2, we come back at Lambeau. And the Colts got Jonathan Taylor. They got Anthony Richardson. That's a team I don't really watch a whole lot of, is the Colts. So that'll be an interesting one. An opponent we don't play a ton, but we're kicking it right off at home opener. So that's a noon one. The other one is the Titans game right after that. Now, I haven't set in stone exactly which game we're going to head to early on in the season. But I've never been to Nashville, so what better way to experience Nashville than to head down there for a Packers game? So, and the Titans should be decent. They got Will Levis over there. DeAndre Hopkins, I think he might actually be missing some games, so we might catch a break there if he does indeed miss a few weeks. So, personal reasons, yeah, that home opener against the Colts and the Titans game in Nashville, that is week 3. So we start off in Brazil, come back home against Lambeau, against the Colts, and then boom, right back on the road against the Titans. So games following that, we've got the Vikes in Lambeau. Packers then head out to LA to face the Rams. Cardinals come to Lambeau after that, and then the Texans come to Lambeau October 20th, and that's a noon game as well. I know a lot of folks were hoping that would be some sort of primetime game with C.J. Stroud and the way he's been playing, but not the case. Not the case. And how could I forget the Packers will be wearing the all-white unis. Those bad boys right there. So against the Texans. As for the Packers, games they should probably be excited about. The home game against the 49ers. That one's on November 24th. I would imagine the playoff scenarios start to creep out at that point in the season. And with the 49ers being the top dog right now as far as the NFC goes, and this is also assuming the Packers being in the position to make the playoffs, which I think they will be. This game will have some big implications as far as seeding goes. And on top of all that, we've kind of gotten our butts handed to us over the years against the Niners. So maybe a little revenge game sneak in there. So thanks, Jamie, for the question. I appreciate you tuning in. Travis over on Instagram. Why and how is Sterling Sharp not in the Hall of Fame? You must have seen my post yesterday, Travis. I post the same thing every few months. Just a little reminder that Sterling Sharp somehow is not in the Hall of Fame. And I just saw Devontae Adams, too, kind of a side note here. he named his top wide receivers of all time and didn't include Sterling. Tough to see. Tough to see from a former Packer. But hey, just kind of goes to show the underratedness of Sterling Sharp. Now, obviously, longevity comes into play here with him only playing for 7 seasons before getting hurt. But these are his stats, and I'm going to go right off my post here from yesterday over those 7 seasons. 595 catches, 8,134 yards, 65 touchdowns, 3 times All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowl. So pretty much every single year, Pro Bowl, just about half the time he was an All-Pro. I think he led the league twice in receiving in just 7 years, and 65 touchdowns. That's just insane. Insane. So, yeah, hopefully the day will come that he does get inducted. We shall see. Only time will tell. Maybe, after so long he might be, but they might just have a grudge against him. You guys know how that Hall of Fame voting goes or how it doesn't go. But Shannon Sharp talked about it in his Hall of Fame speech, saying, I'm the only member of the Hall of Fame in my family, and he's the second best player behind his older brother. Younger, older? I don't know. I don't remember. Either way, Sterling Sharp belongs in the Hall of Fame. My man over on Instagram, it's a horrible issue that Sterling isn't in. He set a receiving record in receptions and set new records with 108 and 112. I agree. It's a travesty. It is a travesty. So hopefully Sterling can get in sooner or later. Ben Holden says all the games. I'm excited for all the games. Give me the preseason games. Come on, man. I'm excited. This weekend is against I'm embarrassed. I don't know. The Browns, August 10th. So give me some football. Now, who will play? Beats me. I have no idea at this point. We've got practice today. Practice number 11, if I remember correctly. So I'm excited for a little preseason action this Saturday night. Omer over on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, my man. Those of us who are blessed to see Sterling's career, what a treat, should be in Canton already. Omer, I completely agree with you. It's just wrong. So I am glad that Leroy got in after so long. I'm glad that Jerry Kramer got in after so long. Now it's time for Sterling Sharp. It's up to us to keep that memo on the rise and out in the public. And that's why every few months I tweet the same thing. The video highlight of Sterling listing his accomplishments and his stats. So keep up the work. It's up to us. Thank you, Omer. Good to see you, sir. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you. Where are you at right now? I know you're across the water. What time is it for you? What's the weather like over there? I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. So I'm starting to break something new out here, and I'm going to start talking about the fact of the day, just to touch up our knowledge here on the Packers. You can always learn something, right? And today's fact of the day, Lynn Dickey set a Packers single-season record that stood for 28 years when he passed for 4,458 yards back in 1983. Lynn Dickey setting a Packers single-season record that stood for 28 years when he passed for 4,458 yards back in 1983. So that was before my time, but I did have the pleasure of meeting Lynn Dickey last year at the Legends of Lambeau, kind of an autograph signing type deal they had at Lambeau Field. Just great. Super nice guy. Signed my jersey I had of his, and I had my then 2-year-old with me, and he chatted up with her, or at least tried to. Super nice guy. So fact of the day, Lynn Dickey set a Packers single-season record that stood for 28 years when he passed for 4,458 yards back in 1983. Man, just about 4,500 yards back in the 80s. That's unreal. So what else we got? Oh, Mayor. This team brought in 7 players for tryouts yesterday. 3 of them kickers, 2 edge, but not 1 lineman. WTF is Gutekunst thinking? Omer bringing the heat this morning. Omer, have faith, brother. Have faith. Once you get past the starters, there is 0 depth on this O-line. Several players eyeing for swing tackle. Kadeem Telfort, who leapfrogged Jones and Tenuta. Him and Dillard get most of the snaps. Dillard has struggled majority. None of them standing out. I completely agree that Dillard has been struggling now, albeit going against Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith. You got to cut him a little slack, don't you? I know he's a former first-round draft pick, and he's had some failed stints over with the Titans, I believe, and then most recently with the Eagles. So it's early. Omer, have some faith, my man. Goody has been known to poach a few unknowns in the free agency game shortly after cuts are made during the season. Goody does it all. At this point, I'm not going to get too all upset about it. So join me in having a little patience here. And if not, that's all you. That's cool. But come the season time, if the O-line's still struggling like it is now, and we haven't made any changes or any additions, then maybe I might join you on the side of, being a little concerned. But it's early. We've got 2 weeks of training camp under our belts. We haven't had a preseason game yet. Let's see how these dudes do in preseason against some actual, rushers and constant rushes and in-game action. So other than Sean Ryan, only maybe proven depth. Yeah, I agree. The depth right now isn't proven. And that kind of goes to my point. They haven't had time to really solidify themselves as depth pieces. But some of the guys have had OTAs minicamp. But, yeah, we're only through 2 weeks of training camp. No preseason games yet. So, Omer, join me, man. Give Goody some time. Give Goody some time. And in a couple weeks, hold me to it. I'll join you if this offensive line isn't playing as well as it should be and no moves have been made. But I'm sure he'll make some moves. And I don't know. Only time will tell. What else we got? JJP, perfect question for what I'm about to talk about. And also Jake over on Instagram. Tell me Anders Carlson is playing bad. Jake, Anders Carlson, depending on who you go after, as far as his totals through training camp thus far, he is 33 of 39 compared to Greg Joseph's 37 of 40 on their field goal attempts. Now, this all depends on who you follow and what rankings or what tallies you go off of. Some of the guys count field goals that are called off. Some of them count field goals that are during different periods. So, but right now, tally is Anders Carlson 33 of 39, which isn't great. You'd like to see a little better out of a year 2 guy. But, man, Greg Joseph, 37 of 40. Insane. He had his back up against the wall, kind of an uphill battle coming into camp this year, going up against Anders. Second-year guy, Packers drafted him. We all thought probably he'd win this battle, but Greg Joseph, man. And he was, I think, 37 of 39, or he was 36 of 38 and then missed. And at that point, he had made, I think, almost 20 straight kicks. Just insane. So hats off to Greg Joseph. He's really pushing to win this job. And, man, Anders Carlson, step it up, my man. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for whoever makes the most kicks. I don't care. At this point, I had a little backup against Anders Carlson that we drafted him last year. Was kind of hoping he'd win this battle. Last year, I didn't think every miss was his fault. The whole unit as a whole, the whole operation, the snap, the hold, the protection. I didn't think everything was his fault, but, man, I've said it a million times. There's nothing worse than going down the field on offense, scoring a touchdown. Everything's great, and then a missed extra point to follow. just the absolute worst. And then you're thinking all game long, well, that 1 point's going to come back to get you in half the time it does. So thank you for the question. Thanks for the comment, Jake. He's not doing the greatest, but he's not doing horrible either. So JJP, thank you for the comment as well. I appreciate you tuning in. Eric over on Instagram, go Pack go, go Pack go, my man. Thanks for tuning in on this beautiful Tuesday morning. A little brisk outside. I said it earlier, was out the door early at 4:30, hitting the gym, getting her in and getting her done, and getting back to you guys. One of my favorite time of the day here. I'll be live 7 a.m. Just about every day. So if you're up and at it early, heading to work, hopping in the shower, tune in, throw the YouTube on, hit that like button, please. Follow on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, that is. Omer with the shout out. Appreciate that, my man. Omer, that said, hats off to Joseph, who's balled out all camp, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, literally knew everything for him. He was with Minnesota last year. And yeah, new training camp, new location, new team, new snapper, new holder, new protection. No excuses out of this guy. He's just been banging field goals left and right. And Andy Herman said it on his show last week. Every time he steps up to attempt a field goal, you're thinking it's going to go in. So that's the comfort I want come regular season. It's just like, come on. Mason Crosby outside of the year he had where he wasn't doing so hot. It's like, all right, let's, if the snap and the hold is good, I fully expect, 50, 52 yards and in to hit this thing. And that's kind of the feeling Greg Joseph has given me. And if that's the case, the rest of training camp, preseason games, give me Greg Joseph. As I said, give me the kicker who makes the most kicks. It's as simple as that. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me today as far as the show goes. And as you know, the content never stops, though. So please follow me on social media at GBP Daily. I'm posting Packers content all day long on every social platform. And if you aren't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel at GBP Daily, and I'd appreciate it. So I will be back at it again tomorrow, 7 a.m., So I look forward to seeing you then. And until then, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you.